Hello everybody, this is Starman and welcome back to Let's Play Betrayal Krondor. Well, last time you remember we saved a war chieftain of the Moredhel from the mines underneath Armengar, and that got us a bit of gold and also informed us as to where we could find a certain woman that Gorath wanted to see for a bit, for some reason, named Kulik, a witch, apparently. And we were told that she was somewhere south of Cairn, to the west of the crossroads leading to Wyke. And there are two villages here, but there's really nothing of importance in them. So we are going to, and I did eventually find the house we're looking for immediately south of where we left off last time. And it is guarded. So we'll go ahead and move in. This should prove a fairly easy combat after what we've gone through so far. And what the heck, we'll do another evil seek just to... A minor one should finish the rest of them off. Well, that goblin was made of sturdy stuff. Nothing much here. Nothing much here. Nothing on that one. Anyway, you're probably wondering, why is Gorath so intent on finding this woman? Well, here's why. Gorath looked at the small well and couldn't help but remember the day it was built. The hole was no sooner dug than the skies opened up. Rain fell for several straight hours, making the completion of the job a muddy, slippery mess. He smiled as he remembered his friend Dralik, slipping backward into a large puddle. How they had laughed! His smile faded as he remembered the day Dralik left to follow Mermandimus. He had not returned. "Come on," said Gorath. "Let's fill up our pouches of fresh water and leave this place." So yes, this is Gorath's home, which means that the woman inside, the witch we're trying to find, is Gorath's wife. Elvira. Well, not quite, but... Inside the cottage felt more house than home, empty save for shards of broken crockery in one corner and a few rudely made stools for sitting, apart from that table right behind her. The witch's home was nearly as cold as the winds which howled outside. "Your husband has at last returned." "Husband? How so? Clan leader? By what right? Upon a time you held all those clans with dignity and honor. Around you the clan Aridane was curled like a golden dragon, ready to rise up at your word and crush at whatever lay in your path. Where is that dragon now? Why does it sleep?" "Kulik, is that all you dream of beneath your strange stars? A dead past? What value in all Mermandimus' speeches did we gain but to learn that we are weak? What spirit did we discover and defeat except that we corrupt from within? The time has come to blunt our blades and look to our own, to put down the monsters that we have become. What destiny would you have of the Moredhel, Gorath? Should we bend our heads to the earth once more, enslave ourselves at the will of the Eldred Hell who live in Elvandar, much as we trembled beneath the Valharu in black centuries past? The Queen Aglarana will not accept us back into the fold as family, but instead as slaves. You've seen our brethren that have returned to them. What are they but gelded bulls in elven servitude? I know not whether they rejoice or weep under their midnight stars, but their children grow to great ages. They trade freely under the kingdom's sun. We must fight for so little as a loaf of bread and kill our cousins lest they steal our kits from their dreaming. It is time we became more than savages." "Why have you come here, Gorath? Surely not to debate a love that between us that is dead." "No, I need your help but for a short time longer, and then I will be away and leave you to your own. So much I ask for my former wife. You may then be free to do as you see fit." "In the name of one I once loved I listen and I will do as I can. Speak, Gorath." "Scrying. We need of you to do a scrying. What road will lead us to safety?" "I need consult the stars for your answer, for I have looked upon it for days since you left. Delicon masses on the kingdom's borders. The banners of the clans Creda, Dargales, and Oradu flutter on the fields near Raglam. I would seek no passage south of the Teeth that leads by the kingdom fortresses of Northwarden or High Castle. Doubtless Narab shall be at their head." "Narab has turned on the old wolf. Sarsargoth is encircled with his clan. He shall not trouble us." "Nonetheless, the armies are gathering, and you will find none among them friends. Neither may you pass across the great northern mountains through Morelane. Moredhel works with the Six to ensure none of the former clans of the Greenheart may escape through the fringes of Elvandar. Limbs Kragma feast on his soul. He believes if we cannot run, we will join his accursed march. Again, your only means of escape lies along the Incladel. For whatever reason, the Six have allowed the snows to lift. Perhaps they have otherwise occupied focusing their magics. I'll ask about the Six. These Six who now serve Delicon, from what clan do they arise? Perhaps their loyalties may be reversed. They are mighty in their arts, husband, far beyond even my powers. They claim the ancient title of Spellweavers, though they are vastly different from those of our magical cousins in Elvandar. Some suspect they hail the Serpent People, but long has it been since I touched the mind of those folk in the Northlands. So, the Black Robe Six, not Serpent People, according to the Witch. If we are to slip undetected for the Incladel, we may require your skills of illusion, one such as you summoned when I first escaped Elicon's men. You know not what you ask. That spell is great in its fashioning and left my power of nothing for a month. I cannot follow where you go, for I believe yours is a coward's path. Owen fidgeted. Unable to pick meanings out of the harsh-sounding Moredhel tongue, he nonetheless understood the tone of the conversation between Gorath and the strange Moredhel woman. Whatever they were saying, they weren't in agreement. She will speak with you, Gorath snapped, his face flushed afraid as he stalked to the window. Listen to what she says. But how will I understand what she's saying? Owen said. I don't know Moredhel. Wait in la leda, Kolek whispered, gliding to his side. She gently took his hand and began to stroke it. You will understand. It seemed days had passed. What happened? Owen said, shaking his hand. He was shocked to find himself lying on the ground. Above him, Gorath and Kolek were watching with intense interest as he regained consciousness. What kind of spell did you cast on me? What you have been taught is special, Kolek replied, hoping onto his feet. You will now understand all I speak to you, and you will find your skills as a spellcaster are much greater than they were before. Walk around a bit. My husband and I have more to discuss. I thank you for saving our lives. Without your assistance, my companion and I would have perished under Delicon's hand. I would not wish your death, but I am not to thank for your recent escape. Why would you make me a part of it? Magic was involved. While we were captive, someone released us from our bonds. I had assumed you were responsible. Someone else acts in your favor, Gorath. It was not I. I should question who it is and what their motives for doing so would be. Yeah, in this case, we're pretty sure that it's Nayrab who decided, well, if he doesn't appreciate me bringing him these spies, I'm going to let them go. If we should encounter Morleaf and the Six, I would like to be better prepared to meet him. There is a spell I crafted once which I may teach the boy. It is an illusion which bends the perceptions of those nearby in such a way they cannot see you for who you truly are. Instead, you are seen as residents of the area you wish to enter. It has been specifically tailored for the town of Harlech. Perhaps of use to you when you deal with Morleaf. If you have 800 silver, I may teach it to Owen, or an equal sum in gold that I may buy the silver I require. You would charge us for this? While I would be within my rights to do so, I require silver because it is needed for the fashioning of the spell. Do you have the coin? Yes, we do. The money is yours. Do what must be done. Very well. Owen, please come here for a moment. I'm not going to end up unconscious on the floor again, am I? You shall remain on your feet throughout the whole lesson. We shall begin. Time passed. His head swimming with the details of the spell, Owen repeated the cantrip line by line back to Kolek. When she seemed satisfied that he learned all the details, she nodded her head. You have learned well, she said. Go and rest for a few moments. And that seems to have done it. And yes, that touch that she gave us has now increased Owen's spellcasting to 100%. And his melee and defense have gone up a bit, as has Gorath's defense and accuracy, and his strength. Go ahead and camp for a bit. And with that done, we should be able to safely cut westward. Without running into any combat. And that's almost brought us in range of Harlech. Alright, so Owen's new spell. And the light shall lie. Owen didn't feel any different. All seemed normal, save the very faint glow that seemed to surround his body. He held his hand and wiggled his fingers while Gorath watched with amused interest. "I'm afraid your spell didn't work," he said. "Perhaps you should try it again." "But it did work. You just can't see the effects because the spell is specifically designed for Moredhel. Let's go." The house was silent. Whoever had been arguing inside the house before had evidently adjourned either to sleep or had found a means of leaving undetected. Though he had no evidence to support his suspicion, he had a feeling that he would not be leaving the house's residence anytime soon. A young female Moredhel answered Gorath's knock. "Why do you bring this kingdom dog to my door?" she demanded of Moredhel. "He is my pet," replied Gorath. "He entertains me with his magic tricks." This was quite funny to both of them, and they had a hearty laugh. Owen, unable to understand the language, just looked puzzled. "What news in Harlech?" asked Gorath. "All who are able to fight have gone north towards Sargoth. Delacon's has been performing some magic tricks of his own. The six are very powerful, they say." They talked for a short while as Owen fidgeted nearby. When the door finally closed, Owen asked, "What was so funny? What did you two start laughing?" "I told her you were my pet," Gorath said, smiling. Owen's expression changed to an appalled stare. "You told her what?" "Sorry, my young friend, I just had to tell her what she wanted to hear." And we better keep this spell going, otherwise we're going to have some issues. Gorath knocked on the wooden door. They were greeted by a uniformed Moredhel, who stared at Owen for a moment before ushering them inside. After leading them into a back room, the guard presented them to Moredhel. "What have you? Make it brief." "Sargoth has been besieged. Lord Narab and an unknown number of confidants freed dissidents trapped within the dungeons and fled north. Delacon requests that you and the remaining members of the Six lend immediate assistance." "Madness! I have my troops in position, ready to march, and our target is only a week's expedition from here. If we leave now, we will not be in position when the time comes for the final strike. Surely Delacon doesn't intend to divert us into the snow plains to chase a handful of cowards." "The intentions of your father are unknown to me. I merely bring his message. Further, he requests progress reports on your activities." "If he were not my father, I would slit his impertinent throat. What does he wish to know?" "Well, let's go with the passwords." "The guards of the Incledel Bridge have turned back goods stolen from the kingdom. We need the password for the day to authorize the movements of the goods across the bridge." "Where do you go with them?" "With us back to the mustering at Sargoth. The supplies are desperately needed there. Many hungry soldiers to feed." "My soldiers are hungrier. You have new orders. You are to stop and Harlech the shipment before proceeding north. We shall take what is needed." "I don't believe Delacon will be too pleased." "Delacon be damned. If he likes, he may come here and retrieve the goods himself, but I will take them. Tell them at the bridge you are a serpent slayer. I shall expect the supplies immediately." And might as well ask about the Six. "Your father has expressed concerns that he has been inadequately informed about the activities of the Six. He demands an immediate report. Father knows as well as I that the Six conduct their how the Six conduct their business. They do not report to me anything beyond complaints about their lodgings are too cold and that they do not care for the food. Another hint as who they are: they don't like cold weather. I do not trust their motives, and they speak only to their leader, and he comes only when it suits him. If it were my decision to make, I would turn them all into the snow and let them freeze. But they are crucial to the attack at Northwarden, are they not? Northwarden is of little importance. It's the goal beyond that concerns me. What should happen should we have Mirandus back among our ranks?" "How would that be possible? Mirandus is dead." "I will answer my father's questions, messenger, but I am not here for your own curiosity." "You have answered all we've been directed to discover. Enthralling. Now take leave of me and send my father my good wishes." "Your will, Lord Moredhel." Okay, so let's get the heck out of here before that spell wears off. And now southward. And yes, a little shop here, Children of the Green Heart. Nice place to restock on some things before we head south. And hey, we can get rid of these masks. No use for poison bolts, alas alack. Well, before we head southward, one Easter egg that might be of note. Just because, while it is a nice little Easter egg, it is also a bit of a continuity screw-up. See, we do have a graveyard here. Died fighting for the Protector, and these are all graves that were dug during the time of the Battle of Armengar. Braddock Aylwin. Death of the City consumed him. Now, the interesting thing about this is that there was really no opportunity for the people who fought at Armengar to come back and bury their dead, given that the city was set on fire and they lost and it was reclaimed to the Moredhel. So this would be the Easter egg. Bronwyn Ale Press, my first love. This would be Bronwyn, very minor character from A Darkness and Sephonin. She was the first girl that Squire Locklear ever went to bed with, and he fell head over heels in love with her, immediately declared that she would come home with him and marry him, and they would rule his lands together. And her being a warrior girl from a barbarian city that didn't have nobility, she basically laughed at him and called him silly, and he basically, cursed her out for not appreciating him right before she got killed by goblins. So apparently Locklear came back at some point and set up this memorial for her, which is a very nice sentiment and very, in keeping with his romantic nature, although it does seem a bit unlikely given the battle that took place here and everything else. And yeah, a lot of healing vials here, which, as we all know, in any role-playing game, the minute that they start giving you free healing potions, that's when you're in for a big fight. So we know the password now. Gorath nodded. Serpent Slayers, he said, staring the Moredhel guard deep in the eye. And that comes from Morleaf himself. Now shall I return and tell him you'll not allow us to cross? The guard stared hard at them. Very good then. You may pass. So we'll pass them, and they have been recognized. Cursing that they had come so close to slipping past the guard, Gorath warned Owen, prepare for the worst. I've been recognized, he shouted. They have orders to kill us both. Thankfully, 5 ordinary non-magic using guards is hardly a problem to us at this point. And with that flaming sword, it's even less of a problem. it just occurred to me we've not had a chance to use Owen's new spell, Unfortunate Flux, yet. So let's see if we can find it. I believe it's... Ah, yes. Unfortunate Flux. 20 stamina to summon sprites to attack an enemy. $87 damage for a 20-point spell. Not bad. Boy, you're just about the luckiest horse son I've ever laid eyes on. If we hadn't heard the commotion coming down the pass, I think those goblins would have been having noble stew about now. Nearly took out your friend here until I saw that he appeared to be fighting at your side. Now, I don't know what you think you're doing in the Northlands with these Moredhel. It is very important that you take us to Prince Arufa. What? The cold's gotten to you, boy. What makes you think I'm going to take time off from my duties and trot your behind down to Krondor? Prince Arufa isn't in Krondor. He's likely still stationed with the Krondorian Lancers just outside the Dimwood near Sephinan. We need you to escort us to his camp. Why would he be there? And why would he want to see a boy in a Moredhel? The prince just sent us to spy on them, all right? They never suspect a scrawny 19-year-old boy in a Moredhel, so that's why he sent us. We've information about a planned attack on the kingdom, and it's vital we get this information to him. How do I know you're telling the truth? You don't, but if you don't take us in the Moredhel over in Northwarden, do you really think you're going to be able to sleep with yourself? I have to give you one thing. If you're a gambler, you sure don't bid low. Come on, let's get moving. The Dimwood's hell and back from here, and the prince won't want to be kept waiting. Let's move. Just get us the hell out of here, Lieutenant. The sooner the better. Evaded capture and last were intercepted by your guards in the Inquidel Pass. The journey south to your camp here outside the Dimwood took many long days, but we moved with great haste as our message is vital. Very interesting tale, but how do I know a word of it is true? How can I believe that this scroll you have given to me is the genuine article and not a forgery trumped up by Delicon? I was very explicit with you before, Gorath. I refuse to act until I have word from Senor James. Well, he told us to give you a message, but it's odd, sire. What exactly did he say? He told us to tell you that there's a party at Mother's, and a good time will be had by all. Gods, Laurie and Jimmy used that phrase years ago. All's right, then. James just saved the pair of you who are next to me a good portion of grief. Yes, there's a party at Mother's, and a good time will be had by all was a catchphrase frequently used by the Thieves Guild, but was also used as a passphrase between Jimmy and Laurie the Bard and Arufa when they needed to deliver messages to each other to assure them that the messages were truly from them. Now I must settle down to this matter of finding out what Delicon is thinking. If this report is correct, then the best force he could muster would number at most 2,000 warriors, a pitiful spit in the eye for a castle assault. You believe he has something else in mind? Undoubtedly. As James indicated in his brief note, it takes some spectacular strategy on Delicon's part to take the castle, and honestly, he has never displayed that kind of wit. We faced him before when he was still a field captain for Mandamus. Wherever he is going, he will no doubt hit fast and run for high ground. Now we have to establish where that high ground is. Should we accompany you to Northwarden? No, I have a much more important task for you, though I doubt you'll find it as exciting. I need you to return to Krondor immediately. Inform Master Magician Pug of his situation. Considering his tactics, I have a feeling Delicon may have a few surprises in store for us. If that bastard brings anything magical to bear, I want to know what it is and how to counteract it. You leave immediately. And that concludes Chapter 4. And we'll go ahead and read the start of Chapter 5, When Rivers Run Blood, before we close out this chapter of the video. James's breath emerged from his lips as a frosty white cloud. Below him, Senior Locklear negotiated scrub brush as he worked his way up the winding mountain path. He cursed expansively as a thorn bush caught in the chinks of his leg guards, and he paused to throw his friend an exasperated frown. James smiled, then turned to look out over the snowy peaks that marked the boundary of Moredhel territory. 5 hours after arriving at Northwarden, Baron Gabba had called both he and Locklear into his meeting room. While worried about James's story of Nighthawks, he was far more concerned that his magical advisor had not reported back from investigating possible Moredhel activity. With a large band of Dark Brothers approaching his castle, he feared that the old magician might have fallen into enemy hands. And so, reluctantly, he asked the two seniors to finish Patris's job. Locklear arrived puffing, his face haloed by mist. I thought that I was going to have to come down there and carry you up, James said, grinning. You shouldn't have stayed up all night with that serving girl. I didn't expect to have to get up at the crack of dawn, Locklear growled, yanking a twig from his chainmail. Mountain climbing and armor do not mix. Suddenly, the two seniors wheeled to the sound of a horrible mewling. And if it weren't bad enough I had to chase you, you made me get rocks in my best shoes. I'm blistered. Know how mad I get when my feet hurt? I get river-bottom, mud-sucking, badger-whacked mad. Excuse us. Go away. I'm busy agitating this here Moredhel. Begging your pardon, but I am Senior James, and this is Senior Locklear. We have been sent by the Baron Gabbett to find you. You're his magical advisor, aren't you? Just Patris, please. I don't ken the titles much. Glad to meet you. I've just been out trying to get some information about these Moredhel. They've been getting too close to the castle, and it was making my tongue itch. Man can't respectably eat that-a-ways. Have you learned anything about the attack? Only that there's 6 companies of them creeping out in the woods somewhere, but I don't know exactly where yet. I think they've got their own magicians, too. Magicians? Well, the Baron will be sorry to hear that, I'd wager. We need to return to the castle. Which way would be the quickest? Northwarden? Well, it's that-a-way. So, yes, we now have James in command with Locklear as well, and Patris, who we met before. Now, Patris is going to be a bit of a far cry from Owen. He is elderly, so we do have lower speed, lower strength, even accounting for how we buffed up Owen. His casting is rather powerful, but his defense and melee are very pitiful. And just check his background out. Before the days of Pug's Academy of Magic at Starduck, Patris was keeping busy with the buzzing questions of his young apprentices. Now he finds himself without students, a fact that bothers him more than he cares to admit. From time to time he's called upon to work some minor magic or never, but few tasks truly challenge his abilities. Although Patris seems addle-brained at times, he is numbered among the most capable magicians in Alchemia. Wrinkled as yesterday's laundry, his face is clearly greatly expressive. Although he's balding, the sides of his head still foster white wisps of hair, and his pointed chin is still covered with a haze of beard. He walks with a slight hunch and is fairly spry for his age and has no trouble keeping up with his younger companions. Locklear, well, his stats are all rather good, including a 99% melee now, which is incredibly impressive. And James, not so much. Only has 60% crossbow, 50% melee, 70%. But his stealth is rather insane at the moment. And you remember all that gear that I had James pack up? Now you know why I brought it. And a great sword for Locklear. All things considered, we'll go ahead and pass that on to Locklear, and pass that on. So, with that, Patris's stealth is decent enough. Locklear's stealth is phenomenal, but not so phenomenal as James. And we are now outfitted with some of the best possible armor and weapons we could get. And it turns out that all the gold we had before has traveled with James, got over 9,000 gold. So we'll go ahead and save this here. And next time we will start Chapter 5 and move on to Northwarden. We'll see you then.